Hey guys, I know I'm in an entirely different location. I am in fact in the same house, I'm just not in my bedroom, and I think you can hear the shower running upstairs on the camera. That's why I'm down here and not upstairs, but you can still hear it, so I'm sorry about that. This is going to be a review of the first episode of season 4 of Reign, which is called With Friends Like These, and I cannot believe that season 4 has finally aired. It feels like forever since the season 3 ended, and I honestly kind of completely forgot about Reign for long periods of time, and then I'd be reminded of it usually on Tumblr over the past year or so, and I'd be like, oh yeah, have I missed the season premiere? Because it seems like it's been an awfully long time, and then I'd look it up and I hadn't, and I feel like it's felt longer than it's actually been. If you remember my reviews from season 3, I hated a significant portion of season 3, if not all of it. I can't even really remember anymore. I just have a lot of negative feelings with season 3. The day before season 4 aired, I kind of had the thought of should I have gone back and watched season 3 before season 4 aired? Because season 2 of Shadowhunters aired recently and I rewatched all of season 1 beforehand, and I did not do that with Reign, and I don't really regret it because I hated season 3 so much that I feel like it would have put me in a bad mood going into season 4, so I think it's a good thing that I didn't rewatch season 3. Despite how much I hated season 3, I am still watching season 4, largely because it has been officially announced that this is the last season, so I feel like if it's going to be the last season, I should stick it out and watch the rest of it. And I'm also still kind of holding out hope that it will get better, which might be too hopeful, but wishing for the best. And I didn't completely hate this episode. I kind of felt ambiguous towards it, and I honestly don't know how much of that was just all of my negative feelings from season 3 carrying over, so I was being super harsh on it, and how much it was just me disliking it, but there were aspects of the episode I liked. I'm really liking the dynamics between Mary and James so far, and how she's not sure whether to trust him, because he is her brother, but she also hasn't really spent any time with him at all, and so she doesn't really know him. I am so happy that Greer was in this episode. I complained a lot in season 3, and it was one of my biggest complaints of season 3 about all of Mary's ladies in waiting disappearing. They're all gone or dead now except Greer, but because Mary was going to Scotland and Greer was staying in France, I didn't think we would see Greer this season. So I'm very excited that she was in Scotland for Lola's funeral, and I really want her to stay. But I get that from a storytelling standpoint, her husband and child are in France. I love Greer. She is one of my absolute favorite characters in Reign. She's definitely in my top 3, and one of my top 3 is dead now, so she's in my top 2. And I'm still so angry about them getting rid of all of Mary's ladies in waiting, and so I want Greer to stay, but I don't feel like she'll stay. Interesting to me how honest Gideon is with Elizabeth in this episode, because he doesn't really lie to her at all, really, and that's interesting to me. And it's very interesting to me how hard he's working to make them friends, like Elizabeth and Mary. I find that really amusing to watch, him really trying to angle to get them to like each other was funny to me. We get to meet Darnley in these episodes, and he seems quite obnoxious. We don't know him that well yet, but not getting good vibes from him from the beginning. If they're going to follow along with history, I feel like we're gonna be seeing more of him, and I don't know how I feel about that yet. It's kind of difficult for me to talk about because I really don't want this to be true. I love Catherine. Catherine is my favorite character. So I want Catherine and Claude in the show because I love them as characters, but they didn't feel like they fit in this episode, because you have Mary in Scotland, Elizabeth in England, and they have done a good job of combining Elizabeth's stories with Mary. They're tangled up with each other, one relies on the other, so switching between England and Scotland makes sense. But then France feels like it's tagged on to it, and that they're just keeping it there because Mary used to be in France and there are still characters there that we're attached to, so we we're just continuing to see France for that reason. From a storytelling standpoint, what's happening with Catherine and Claude in this episode feels entirely unattached to Mary and Elizabeth's story, which ultimately is what the show is about, because ultimately the show is Mary's story. And Mary's story doesn't really feel tied up with Catherine and Claude's anymore, so I get keeping them on the show because people who are watching, including me, are attached to them, but it doesn't feel like it fits. And I don't think that that was a huge problem in this episode, but I'm scared it's going to get worse as the episode goes on and their story is not going to intersect with Mary's, and it's just going to feel completely like disconnected from the rest of the show, and I don't know how I feel about that. Lisa is an interesting character as well. She manages to remind me of Catherine a lot, but also be very different from her at the same time. I feel like Catherine doesn't have quite the same, and I don't know if this was just the circumstances of the episode, but Catherine doesn't seem to feel the same way towards Lisa that she does her other kids. I wasn't expecting Martel to die as soon as he did, because I felt like they were going to like draw that out, so that happened rather quickly. Overall, I did like this episode a lot more than I liked certain episodes of season 3. I don't know if that will continue to be the case as season 4 goes on, because I think at least part of the reason why I have so few problems with this season or this episode is because it's setting up the rest of the season, and so I feel like a lot of the things that they are starting to set up in this episode, I'm still not sure if I'm going to like them or not once they play out, and so I'll have to wait and see. But I did not hate this episode, and there are certain aspects of it that I think are a good sign for the season. I think my biggest worry right now is them following Catherine and Claude in France and it just not feeling like it fits in with the rest of the story. I think that's what I'm most concerned about for season 4. I'm torn about how I feel about that because I do really want to keep seeing Catherine and Claude. I don't want them to just disappear from the show. I don't know if there is a better way to tie their story to Mary's. I don't really think there is. So I get why they're doing what they've done with them. I still feel like it's kind of disconnected from the rest of the show. But we'll have to wait and see how I feel about the coming episodes, and I will see you guys later. Bye.